A strange number called. Reluctantly, I answered the phone, my voice a bit off from the passion, and impatiently asked, "Who is it? What do you want at this late hour?" It was my ex-wife, with whom I had a 6-year marriage. She knew me too well. Upon hearing my breathy voice, she instantly understood what I was up to. After all, she had heard it countless times before. On the other end of the line came a sharp scream. "George, what are you doing? Who are you with?" I was going to give you a chance, but now it seems... As soon as I realized it was her, I hung up without hesitation, muttering to my phone, "What a psycho." Then I turned to my white moonlight and said, "Baby, let's continue. Mary is my ex-wife, and we met in high school. I was a transfer student at the time, and she was not only recognized as the school beauty, but also an academic achiever, serving as the student council president. She often organized various performances and sport competitions, enjoying great popularity at school. She had a strong personality, but she wasn't the spoiled type. Instead, she was keen on taking care of those less fortunate. During the time I just transferred, I was completely lost in everything at school, and Mary helped me out. For several days, I felt guilty, so I took her out for a meal, and gradually she became the person I was closest to at school. I was tall and strong, having been a key player on the basketball team before I came here, with a robust physique and quite good looks. Many people even said I was the new school heartthrob, while the previous one, Tom, was also handsome but always looked sickly. This might evoke a protective instinct in girls, but as a boy, he seemed to lack a bit of masculinity because he was frail. Mary often took care of him, and after I arrived, I helped out quite a bit too. Our families are both well-known local aristocrats, and our parents had a good relationship, with both families owning their own companies. As graduation approached, Mary found me with red eyes, clearly having just cried. "George, do you like me? I like you. And if you like me too, let's be together." This sudden happiness left me a bit at a loss. Seeing that I wasn't speaking, she thought I was going to refuse and turned to leave. I hurriedly grabbed her wrist. "I like you. I've had a crush on you since the first day I transferred here. You're so outstanding, and there are..." Mary quickly covered my mouth, not letting me continue. "It's enough that we like each other. From now on, we are a couple. As long as you don't change your heart, I will take care of you for a lifetime." Of course, I wanted to fall for someone else before I could finish. She pulled me away, always so full of energy. From that day on, Mary cared for me every day and no longer took care of Tom as frequently as before. Even in front of Tom, she would act particularly affectionate with me, and at that time, I didn't think much of it. Later, we both got into the same university. After graduation, Mary joined her family business, while I declined her help and chose to join a newly opened small company. Since there weren't many senior employees in the company, I quickly became the general manager through my hard work and abilities. A year later, I started my own business with a team, and it was thriving. Once the company was on the right track, I proposed to marry her, and she accepted. We naturally got married. Life after marriage was very happy, and the following year we had a son named Gary, who looked just like me, a handsome little guy. Mary still had her old temperament. She had lived a privileged life since childhood, being class monitor in elementary school, student council president in high school and college, and always on the honor roll. She always felt responsible for helping the underprivileged, so she was busy with company affairs every day and also made time for charity, often visiting nursing homes and orphanages. She was so busy every day that she hardly had time for the family. I suggested several times that we hire a nanny since we both had our own careers and were very busy, but she didn't like having outsiders in the house, so I had to take on the household chores myself. I loved her deeply and felt heartbroken seeing her tired every day. So whenever I had time, I would research various recipes on my phone and cook 3 meals a day for her and our son. She had a weak stomach, and when she had episodes, I would make her medicine and rub her belly, wishing I could take her pain away. Under my careful care, she appeared vibrant and radiant every day in front of everyone. Even her close friends and our classmates envied us. When did our family start to fall apart? It all began with Tom returning to settle down in the country. I remember the year we graduated from high school. There was a wave of studying abroad, and Tom's family sold their domestic assets to prepare to go to the United States, dreaming of becoming someone important. But later, for some reason, they returned, and their billions in assets were squandered, leading to their decline. After he returned, he began to frequently contact Mary. His previously weak health not only didn't improve, but he also developed depression, often contemplating suicide during his episodes. Mary started coming home later and later, but she would always inform me and try to come home for dinner. Tom added me as a friend, and whenever Mary was with him, he would send me some trivial pictures to express his gratitude. At first, I didn't pay much attention, but as Mary came home later and later, Tom's videos and ambiguous messages became more frequent. Mary and I often argued about this. She always explained that Tom had no friends or relatives here, and she was just helping him as a friend, trying to make me believe in her character. As usual, I chose to forgive her until one time she didn't come home all night and only sent me a brief message. "I have something to do and won't be back." Looking at his telegram-like message, an ominous premonition surged in my heart. I called her, but her phone was off. The next day, I saw a post from Tom on social media, a video of him lying on the sofa with a woman busy in the kitchen, captioned, "Because I have you with me at night, suddenly everything is fine." That woman was Mary, wasn't it? She never cooked at home, but could prepare a feast for someone else outside. I worried all night while she was taking care of someone else. I grabbed my coat and drove straight to Tom's house. Just as they came out of the house, Tom saw me first and stood there adjusting Mary's clothes in a very ambiguous manner, while Mary was seriously on the phone, showing no special reaction. My temper flared up, and I rushed over, grabbed Tom, and threw him down the stairs, followed by a beating combination of punches and military-style strikes, and finally a lightning-fast fit whip. After I got tired, I calmed down, but noticed Tom's legs were bent backward in a strange position. I knew I had hit him too hard. Mary hurried to Tom's side, wanting to help him up, but her actions made Tom scream in pain. Don't move. It's broken." Mary quickly let go, and Tom fell heavily to the ground again, letting out another painful cry. "George, what are you doing?" He had a depression episode last night, was on the verge of death, and I sent you a message staying here with him all night. Nothing happened between us. Strangely, Mary didn't get angry, but patiently explained to me. I looked at her in anger. She had never seen me so furious and was stunned. "You expect me to believe that nothing happened? Fine, I'll go to the nightclub to find a girl and book a room. Tomorrow we'll also say nothing happened. You better have evidence or we're done." After beating Tom so badly, my anger subsided by half, and I turned to leave. Mary chased after me like crazy, but was pulled back by Tom's painful cries. She hurriedly called for an ambulance to take Tom to the hospital. To my surprise, when I returned home from the nightclub in the early morning, Mary was waiting for me in the living room with red eyes. Seeing me come in, she quickly came over to support me as I was drunk. "How could you drink so much? Sit down for a moment. I'll get a towel to wipe your face." I lay motionless on the sofa, waiting for her to wipe my face. When she got to my neck, she saw the lipstick marks and strawberry marks, and her hand trembled like a sieve. She knew I was doing this to provoke her, but she still couldn't hide her sadness. "Did you see?" I asked with my eyes closed. "Yes." She stopped her movements and softly replied. "You know my temper. I can tolerate many things from you, but I absolutely cannot tolerate betrayal. Spending a night at another man's house. I need an explanation." I kept my eyes closed, my tone extremely cold. She took out her phone from her bag and showed me a video, which was the surveillance footage from Tom's house. He is weak and timid, so we installed a joint monitoring system at home. Every time I went home with him, I let him go first to turn on the monitor before I entered. I have always maintained a boundary of friendship with him, and today, with his legs broken, I found him a caregiver. I know your temper. If I don't explain things clearly to you tonight, you really will leave me. I merely hummed lightly. "I'm sleeping here today. Don't disturb me. You go back to your room." After saying that, I pretended to snore. She stayed silent for a while, then went to wash up and sleep. Hearing her close the door, I quickly got up and grabbed my phone to check the surveillance video she had sent me. There was indeed Nothing unusual yesterday, so I scrolled back all the way to the longest saved footage, 30 days ago, and found nothing amiss. Thus, I chose to forgive her again. In the following months, Mary left early and returned late every day. Not only did she cook for me, but she also took care of all the household chores. In her words, that day I really scared her. She had never seen me that angry and for the first time felt she might lose me. Just when I thought life was gradually returning to normal, my father fell seriously ill and was sent to the hospital in Los Angeles. I arranged for his hospitalization and waited for the surgery, but at that moment, an unprecedented big deal came to the company. They required my personal signature, and there were some details that needed to be discussed in depth. This contract was crucial for me. If we secured it, we would have a major client, and just relying on this company, our company could thrive. Unfortunately, the timing of the contract negotiations conflicted with my father's surgery, so I instructed Mary on what to do at the hospital and left at noon. After signing the contract and preparing to treat the client to a meal, I received a call from my mother. She said Mary had received a call and left, asking if I could return to the hospital. She was getting old and didn't know what to do. I quickly explained to the client that there was an urgent matter at home and rushed back to the hospital. To my surprise, I ran into my first love, Amy, who was accompanying her mother for a checkup. My mother said she was grateful to have run into Amy. Otherwise, she wouldn't have known what to do alone. Amy looked even more beautiful than before, her warm and charming smile, her delicate features even more stunning, and her casual outfit made her look capable and energetic. "You look even more beautiful." I didn't know what was wrong with me. I didn't have time to express my gratitude and blurted out such a nonsensical comment. Perhaps it was just that she was too beautiful. She looked at me and smiled. "You're still as silly as ever, but more mature now." Amy and I had been neighbors since childhood, and our parents had a good relationship. Her father was a famous pianist, and when Amy was in high school, they moved to Europe to pursue their musical dreams. Now that things weren't so peaceful in Europe, they had returned. We were almost inseparable as kids. We played house, always pretending to be a couple. We were close until high school. In the days before her family left, Amy stayed at my house, saying she loved my mother's cooking the most. I was sad for a long time after she left. We exchanged contact information, and I originally planned to treat them to a meal, which they agreed to, but later Amy received a call and said she had something to do, so we would owe that meal for now and talk about it later. After that, I saw them out of the hospital. My father's surgery went smoothly, and I settled my parents and found them a caregiver before returning to the company to continue working. At 9 o'clock in the evening, I returned home to find the house completely dark. Mary hadn't come back yet. I called her, but there was no answer. I didn't have the habit of calling a second time, so I went to wash up and went to bed feeling quite upset. The next day, I was woken up by a clattering noise coming from the kitchen. When I walked into the kitchen, I found that Mary had returned and was making nutritious porridge. Seeing me, she looked a bit flustered. "Darling, did I wake you? It's still early. Why don't you go back to sleep for a while? They'll call you when breakfast is ready." I stared at her directly. "Aren't you going to explain yesterday's incident to me? What could be more important than my parents being in the hospital, leaving them there to worry and pace around the lobby? You didn't answer my call last night and didn't come home all night. Do you think this could just be brushed aside?" Seeing my pale face, Mary looked guilty. She came over to hug me, but I pushed her away. "Honey, don't be like this. I know I was wrong. Tom called me yesterday. He fell while doing rehab. He was supposed to be able to walk slowly, but now he has a fracture again. His family isn't around, and I'm the only friend he has known since childhood. Plus, you broke his leg, and he understands that you were just angry and didn't call the police. I just wanted to take care of him. I really meant no harm." I could see that Mary didn't look like she was lying, but I still couldn't forgive her. "You know exactly why I hit him. So this nutritious porridge is for him then. Mary, tell me, have you ever cooked a meal for me and the child at home? At home, you're always the one being taken care of, but with other men, you cook and take care of them. You keep saying I hit him, but you never mention why I hit him." He was being dramatic. Having another man's wife stay over at his house for a night. Shouldn't he be hit? I actually think I didn't hit him hard enough. While trying to calm me down, Mary kept scooping porridge into the thermos. Honey, it's still early. When our son wakes up, you can heat this porridge and send him to school. After saying that, she picked up the thermos and left. Goodness, I talked for so long, and it was all in vain. After dropping the child off at school, I went to the company. After finishing my work, I opened my phone and saw Tom's new post. He was leisurely lying in bed with his mouth open, eating the porridge that Mary was feeding him. Mary was blowing on the porridge to cool it down before feeding it to him, with a caption, "This porridge tastes best when someone feeds you." In my memory, not to mention me, even my son has never been cared for so attentively by her. So I commented sarcastically, "You can use your hands to post on social media, but can't drink porridge by yourself. It's a pity those hands didn't break a bone." Then I drove to the hospital, pinned Tom down on the hospital bed, and gave him a good beating, followed by a big fight with Mary. In the end, I left a room full of onlookers and walked away. I'm not the kind of person who can suffer in silence. I definitely need to vent my frustrations, but after so many years of marriage with Mary and having a son, I just couldn't bring myself to divorce her. After all, she had been good to me in the past. Since then, we started a Cold War. Mary hadn't come home for 7 days, and Tom continued to post on social media, as usual, with videos of Mary taking care of him. Now he even had a bandage on his head. Even after being injured like this, he still didn't forget to post provocatively on social media. What I couldn't stand the most was my wife not coming home at night while being with another man. They say that Cold Wars hurt feelings the most, and that's absolutely true. I worked hard every day, came home to take care of my son, and had to watch Tom's social media posts at night. I couldn't sleep at all, lying awake until dawn. Until Sunday, when my son had a day off, I planned to take him to the amusement park for a day of fun. He hadn't seen his mother for a few days and was feeling a bit unhappy. Just as we were getting ready to go out, Mary pushed the door open and walked in. She looked at me and the child, her eyes filled with regret and guilt. When our son saw his mother, he happily rushed over to hug and kiss her. Overjoyed, I have to say Mary is very patient with the child, even more so than I am. "Are you guys going out? Can you take me with you?" Mary picked up our son, but her gaze was on me. "Sure, Dad is taking me to the amusement park today, and since Mom is here, the three of us could go together." "That's great." Our son was so happy he was dancing around. Looking at the joyful scene of the mother and son, I felt a pain in my heart. I hadn't taken care of the child for several days, and now that I was back, he was still close to her. Mary noticed I was unhappy, put down our son, and playfully tugged my hand, saying, "Honey, I could have come back that night, but who knew you went and hit him again?" After the checkup, they said it was a mild concussion, and his eyes were so swollen he couldn't open them. I had to take care of him for a few more days, and I just came back today because his mom is here. Besides, Tom is quite something. He told his mom he got hit by a car. Enough. Don't mention his name in front of me. Don't you think he's ungrateful? After breaking his leg, he still doesn't learn his lesson and provocatively posts on social media. I think I went easy on him. I should have given him a severe concussion instead. All right, honey, don't be angry. I'm back now, right? I'm not going anywhere today. He'll just stay with you and our son. Okay. Before she could finish, the phone rang in the room. She nervously reached for her phone, only to find it was my phone ringing. Our phones are the same brand. I took out my newly replaced Huawei foldable phone. It was a call from a wealthy client from the Middle East who had come to our company for an inspection a few days ago. He was placing an order. Securing this order would make a significant impact for our company in the Middle Eastern market. In such an important situation as the company's CEO, I absolutely couldn't miss it. So I threw out a quick, "I have something to do," and hurried out the door. They say that while love may fail, work can succeed. Over the past year, our company has been landing big contracts and even entering the international market. The collaboration with the Middle Eastern client went smoothly. He was very straightforward, and we quickly signed a contract. At noon, I booked the most luxurious hotel in the city to host the client and reward the hard-working employees. During this time, just as everyone was enjoying themselves, my phone rang. It was the police station calling, saying my son had gotten separated from his family at the amusement park and was now being taken to the police station urging me to come pick him up. My mind went buzz, and I hurriedly made arrangements before driving straight to the police station. On the way, I called Mary several times, but she didn't answer. When I arrived at the police station and saw my son being well taken care of by the officers, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. After expressing my gratitude to the police, I took my son home. After asking my son, I learned that they had just arrived at the children's play area of the amusement park when Mary received a phone call and hurriedly left, leaving her 5-year-old son there. Unable to find his mother, the boy cried out in panic. The amusement park staff made several announcements, but no one came to claim him, and in the end, they had no choice but to call the police. After listening to my son's account, my temper flared up instantly, and I felt like my head was about to explode. What could be so serious that she would leave her 5-year-old child unattended at the amusement park, before she could just drop everything for Tom with a single phone call, leaving me and my parents, who were about to undergo surgery? Now she can leave our son at the amusement park? No matter what reason she gives, this time I will never forgive her. Again, I brought my son back to our villa in the suburbs and settled him in, then printed the divorce agreement myself. After all, divorce is not a glorious matter, and I didn't want to trouble a lawyer. Once it was ready, I sent it to Mary. To my surprise, just a minute after I sent the message, she called me. It turned out that she had seen the messages and calls I had sent her before. She just didn't want to respond. I answered the phone, and her anxious and flustered voice came through. "Honey, what are you doing? Don't scare me, okay? Today, Tom sent me a video. He was already on the roof of the hospital, saying he didn't want to live anymore. You know me. Even if he were a stranger, I couldn't just stand by and watch him jump. Fortunately, he's stable now, and I'm coming back right away." I coldly interrupted her. "Do you know where our son is right now?" "Our son?" she screamed, followed by a muffled sound of a bang, as if her phone had fallen to the ground, and then the call was disconnected. I comforted my frightened son and made him lunch. It wasn't until noon that Mary called again. "Is our son with you? Why don't you tell me? I've been driven almost crazy all morning. Do you know that now you remember our son? Why didn't you think about him when you left him at the playground? You could abandon me and my parents for your white moonlight. I really didn't expect you to be so heartless to neglect even our 5-year-old son. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau at 9 tomorrow morning." You know me. I won't say the word divorce lightly. This is a decision I've made after careful consideration. After I finished speaking, I hung up the phone. My son looked at me with an innocent face. "Dad, are you going to divorce Mom?" I nodded and said nothing. "I don't want you and Mom to get divorced. I love both of you. Please don't separate. The 3 of us together is what makes a family. If you get divorced, I won't have a home anymore." Hearing my son's words, my eyes instantly turned red. How could a 5-year-old understand so much? "Did your mom teach you to say that?" I asked somewhat suspiciously. My son saw that I wasn't happy and quickly shook his head. "No, it's just that when Mom and I watch TV dramas together at night, the kids who get divorced are so pitiful. Their step-parents are not good to them. Dad, I don't want to be like them." After saying this, my son shook my arm, looking at me with his little face, which was almost identical to mine. I softened. After Mary came back, she adopted a very low profile, almost humbly trying to please me. I didn't say anything and didn't bring up the divorce again. From then on, I threw myself into work, and after work, I wasn't in a hurry to go home. I either went out with friends to eat, drink, and have fun, or accompanied clients for socializing. Sometimes I wouldn't go home for days, and other times I would be so drunk that someone had to take me back. Every night, Mary would prepare a table full of my favorite dishes at home, waiting for me to return, even though I never ate a single bite. When I got drunk, she would always have detox soup and stomach-nourishing porridge ready in advance, feeding me, and then struggling to drag my tall, strong self to take a shower, change into pajamas, and then help me into bed, holding me as I fell asleep. Every morning, I would wake up to find her having already made breakfast for me. In the past, after drinking too much with clients, I would always feel terrible the next day. But during that time, I felt very comfortable. I thought it was because the alcohol was good and didn't give me a hangover, so I bought a lot of the same alcohol to entertain clients, completely unaware that it was Mary's careful care at night that made the difference. She not only prepared detox soup and stomach-nourishing porridge, but would also get up several times during the night to feed me water. Every day, I would get dressed, wash up, take a quick glance at the living room, and rush out while she wasn't around, never paying attention to her tired appearance and the dark circles under her eyes. That noon, just as the chef in the company cafeteria delivered the meal he had prepared just for me, I received a call from my mom. She said that Amy had taken her and Amy's mom to the mall for shopping, and while they were on the escalator, my mom, being older, lost her balance due to inertia and was about to fall. It was Amy who caught her just in time from behind. My mom was fine, but Amy, wearing high heels, had seriously twisted both of her ankles. I quickly arrived at the mall, and the three of them were waiting outside. Amy was sitting on the steps in so much pain that she couldn't stand up. I carried her to the car and called a taxi for my mom and Amy's mom to take them home. Considering their age, I didn't let them go to the hospital with us. Soon, I took Amy to the hospital, completed her admission procedures, and paid the fees. After everything was arranged, it was already noon. I found a decent restaurant nearby and bought a few vegetarian dishes that Amy liked. When we were kids, she often ate at my house, so I knew her taste. As I walked past the hospital room holding a takeout box, I heard a familiar voice inside. "Mary, you haven't come to see me for several days. Why do you look so unwell? You look worse than I do as a patient." The speaker was Tom, and the person next to him was Mary. In response to Tom's question, Mary didn't answer. She silently took out several thermal containers from her tote bag and placed them on the dining table set up beside the hospital bed. At this moment, Tom had his phone in his right hand and waited for a while. Seeing that Mary had no intention of feeding him, he turned to look at her. "Mary, aren't you going to feed me this time? I'm still a bit inconvenient. I see you're quite convenient with your phone in your right hand. You might as well eat by yourself." When I saw her say this, her expression was very serious. After so many years of being married, I know her too well. She usually has a cheerful smile like a kind, neighborly big sister, and when she's not smiling, it means she's unhappy, especially now that she has a stern face. Tom, whose thoughts had been exposed, looked a bit awkward. He discreetly put away the phone he was about to use to post on social media, and his tone softened. "Mary, I called you here today because I felt empty inside these past few days without you by my side. Ever since your husband hit me, I haven't gotten out of bed for months. My friends have all urged me to report to the police, but I've refused them. They can't possibly understand the feelings between us. We're not just classmates. We grew up together as childhood sweethearts. For your sake, I could never send him to prison without waiting for him to finish." Mary interrupted him. "You've said that countless times. There's no need to keep repeating it." Mary frowned, looking quite impatient, but still picked up the spoon and fed Tom. "What are you, a big man, doing standing at the door? Either come in or move aside. It's very rude to block the door," a nurse with a bit of temper said. As she spoke, she pushed the door open, and both Mary and Tom in the ward saw me. Mary saw me and froze as if she were paralyzed. The spoon she was about to feed Tom suddenly fell, and the hot porridge spilled down Tom's belly, making him scream in pain. Mary didn't even glance at him. She ran over and grabbed my hand. "Honey, it's not what you think." I gestured for her to stop talking, walked over to Tom, and the nurse had already cleaned the porridge off him. After the nurse finished her check, I patted Tom's face. "Looks like you're living quite well. My wife feeds you, and my son doesn't even get that treatment at home. It seems I'll have to knock all your teeth out this time." Tom listened to me and trembled all over in fear. After all, I always mean it when I say if I say I'm going to hit him, I really will. "Mary, you need to keep him in check. Don't let him act up. If he beats me up every few days, I want to have a good year." As Tom spoke, he moved towards the wall. That cowardly look was truly disgusting. Mary grabbed my hand and said, "Honey, please calm down and don't make a big deal out of this, okay?" Her tone was very gentle, and for some reason, I felt like she was comforting me rather than feeling so sorry for Tom. I put down the fist I was about to swing. "Mary, you call me so affectionately. Look, you've made my wife so worried about me that she wants to spare you. All right, I'll let you off this time, but my wife won't be feeding you anymore. I'll take care of that myself." As I spoke, I picked up the lunchbox with one hand and pinched Tom's mouth shut with the other, pouring the vegetables inside and poking them in with chopsticks. Then I poured in another plate. Mary tried to stop me, but I silenced her with a glance. After 2 plates of food went down, the third plate just wouldn't fit, so I dumped the food on his face. Still want to call the police, huh? Here, let me help you dial. I took out my phone to make the call, but Mary snatched it away. Honey, are you crazy? You'll get arrested for this. Why would the police arrest me? He forced my wife to stay at his house for a night. I want to confront him. He got hurt, but it was his fault to begin with. Worst case, he'll just pay him a little. Money. Pity him a bit. I can handle this. In the future, they'll give him more money for a beaten package. Hit him a few times a month and save a lot of money. After saying that, I dumped all the food on Tom's face. That's it for today. He'll come see you again tomorrow. I walked out of the hospital room without looking back. Then I arrived at Amy's hospital room, opened a takeout box, and placed the food on the table. Amy's eyes lit up when she saw the dishes. After all these years, you still remember what I love to eat. My days abroad have been so tough. I've dreamed of eating the dishes Annie makes. If you love it, then eat more. My tone, which had been filled with anger just moments ago, suddenly softened. I don't know if it was because I was facing the bright moonlight of my childhood or if it was the release of my anger after beating up Tom. But now I felt completely relaxed and all my worries had vanished. I took a little of each dish and placed it in a small bowl for her convenience. Bang! A loud sound of the door being pushed open shattered the harmonious atmosphere. George, can you explain to me who this is? As soon as I looked, I realized it was Mar, storming in with anger. Seeing her, I immediately felt a wave of annoyance. This is the person who helped with the paperwork when you abandoned my parents in the hospital. The one who got injured today while trying to save my mom, and also my friend who grew up with me. Mary listened to me, a hint of guilt flashing in her eyes, but she quickly smiled and stepped forward to greet me. Hello, sister and George's wife. He often talks about you, saying you're like his own sister. Amy also responded warmly, calling her sister-in-law. You just finished feeding your white moonlight. Aren't you going to wash his face and wipe his mouth? Amy can be taken care of by me. You should go back, otherwise, he'll be looking for trouble again. I deliberately called Amy's name in front of Mary. After all, Tom always calls Mary Mary, and she has never refused. Honey, do you have to do this in front of others? I've told you so many times you've misunderstood me. I've already found a caregiver for him. I won't be taking care of him anymore. Mary cautiously tried to please me, emphasizing the word others. I didn't want to get entangled with her in front of Amy, so I promised her that I would go home after I finished my work, and only then did she leave with an awkward expression. Until the evening, after Amy finished her meal, I found her a companion, and only then did I reluctantly head home. There was always endless conversation when I was with Amy. No matter what she said, I was very interested, and whatever I said, she was very cooperative, often looking at me with admiration in her eyes. After being with Mary for a long time, whenever I communicated with her, she always had a calm expression. I also hoped my wife could praise me more. Perhaps we are too familiar with each other, and aside from our daily conversations, there are hardly any topics that excite us. Maybe this is what people mean when they say she can't provide me with emotional value. Perhaps this is how the feelings between all couples gradually fade. I opened the front door, took off my coat, changed into my shoes, and walked into the living room where I smelled a delicious aroma. My son ran over and jumped in my arms. Dad, today Mom bought me a lot of toys and made a lot of my favorite dishes. My son chattered on about the things Mom did with him today. A child's happiness cannot be faked, but I no longer have the same feelings for Mary. She was very happy to see me back and asked me to wait a little longer as there were 2 more dishes to be prepared. I looked at the table already filled with dishes, exchanged a few pruny words with her, and then collapsed onto the sofa, unable to muster any energy. When I got home, I felt especially tired. I wanted to close my eyes and rest for a bit, but I ended up falling asleep right away. When I opened my eyes, it was already past 10 o'clock. I had slept for a full 3 hours. Mary saw that I was awake and reminded me to wash my hands, saying she would go heat up the food. My son, hearing that I was awake, put down his snacks, and happily said, "Dad is awake. We can eat now." After the three of us settled down, our son eagerly started eating. "Slow down. No one is eating with you." Mary gently chided, then looked at me tenderly. "You used to cook all the time, so today try my cooking." As she spoke, she pushed over a large plate of peeled shrimp. "You love shrimp the most. See how it tastes." "Mom, I love shrimp the most too. I want some," our son shouted at Mary, his mouth already greasy from eating. Mary scooped a little into a small bowl for him. "You and your dad not only look alike, but your habits and preferences are exactly the same. In 10 years, our son will definitely be even more handsome than you." I ignored the ambiguous look Mary gave me and focused on eating. After just a few bites, I felt full and then went to take a shower. Mary watched me walk into the bathroom, her gaze lingering for a long time. As this home made me not want to talk to her at all. After taking a shower, I went to bed in a daze. I felt someone trying to take off my nightgown. I opened my eyes and found Mary sitting on me, naked and pulling at my clothes. I quickly pushed her away, saying, "I'm a bit tired tonight. I have a meeting in the morning." With that, I wrapped my nightgown tighter and turned away from her. She started to sob behind me. "Honey, please don't treat me like this. Your attitude has been so cold these days, and I'm really scared. Didn't we agree on 3 days? It's been several months, and you haven't touched me at all. Haven't you been with Tom all these months? How can I touch you? Should I run in front of Tom to touch you? Or should we all three be together?" I was already annoyed, and being woken up by her made me even angrier, and those words slipped out. Hearing what I said, Mary cried even harder. "Honey, you know my character so well. Why do you have to slander me? Like this, I was taking care of Tom in the hospital at first because you injured him, and I was afraid you would call the police. Later, I waited for you at home, but you didn't come back for days. When you did, you were always so drunk you couldn't even recognize yourself. I was worried you weren't feeling well, so I stayed up all night taking care of you. I really love you. Your changes during this time make me feel so unfamiliar and scared. I realize that the person I used to know so well has become so strange. Is it because your first love has come back? That you've changed your heart? That day I saw you outside the door with her. That was exactly how you used to look at me when you loved me the most. It's clearly you who has changed your heart, yet you blame everything on me. George, I want to take the blame for this. Do you really not understand why I broke his leg? Before I hit him, didn't you take care of him enough? Amy got hurt saving my mom, and when I wanted to take care of her, you couldn't stand it. What is Tom to you? You live in his house, taking care of him. Do you know what others will think? How do you expect me to feel? You're also a company president. Can't you see that he has other intentions towards you? After saying that, I got out of bed and went to sleep in the guest room. In the months that followed, I was with Amy every day. After her foot injury healed, she came to work as a secretary at my company. On the day I got off work, she stopped me and said she wanted to treat me to dinner, hoping I would take care of her more after starting work. We went to a moderately priced restaurant with a nice atmosphere, and after ordering, we started chatting. She gently pushed aside my clothes, revealing her shoulder. I remember when I left, I bit your shoulder and said I would leave a mark so you would remember me. Why haven't I seen a scar? You watched too many dramas when you were young. Besides, you didn't bite hard at the time. It just broke the skin a little, so how could it leave a scar? But you were quite cheeky. When it was my turn to bite you, you ran away. You have the nerve to say that people bite shoulders, but you, with your big mouth, came right up to my face. If I hadn't run, I would have been disfigured. Amy glared at me angrily. By the way, I haven't asked you yet. After so many years abroad, why didn't you find a boyfriend? With your conditions, those foreign women can't compare to you. There must have been quite a few chasing you, right? As soon as I got abroad, I didn't like it there. I knew I would come back sooner or later. Besides, the thoughts and lifestyles of foreigners are different. I still think our country's men are better. So tell me how you met your sister-in-law. You're so silly. Your sister-in-law must have had a tough time all these years. So I told her everything about Mary and me from beginning to end, and I didn't leave out anything about Tom either. Just mentioning Tom made my mood turn very sour. Feeling down, I ended up drinking more. The next day, when I woke up, I found myself at Amy's house, where she had already made breakfast. We finished breakfast together and then went to the office. As soon as I got out of the car, I saw Mary walking over. She suppressed her anger and asked me, "Where did you stay last night?" "I drank too much yesterday. It was Amy who took me back to her place." "So you were with her last night? What's it to you? You've done this kind of thing before. Are you here to settle scores today?" I retorted without hesitation. She was momentarily speechless, frozen in place. I ignored her and walked straight into the company. Until the afternoon, Amy and I were getting ready to go out for lunch nearby. Just as we stepped outside, we saw Mary still waiting outside. "Honey, I want to talk to you for a few minutes," Mary said, reaching out to pull me in. I sidestepped to avoid her. "Go ahead," I replied coldly, looking elsewhere and unwilling to meet her gaze. She glanced at Amy, hesitating to speak. Amy was perceptive and found an excuse to leave. "Honey, are you deliberately trying to upset me with the same thing? Or are you serious about her?" Mary's voice trembled, her eyes filled with unease. "What if I want to upset you? What if I'm serious?" I replied coldly, not wanting to hide anything from her anymore. "If it's to upset me, I allow you to be with her once, but only once because Tom and I are innocent. It's my fault for not maintaining boundaries, and I'm willing to take responsibility for my mistakes. If you're serious about her, I'm willing to let you go and divorce you. I love you. I want you to be happy, not to see you unhappy at home every day. You have no idea how much it hurts me to see you like this, and I can't stand you being so cold all the time." As Mary spoke, tears streamed down her face. I looked at her sad expression, but my heart was completely calm. "Mary, there's nothing between Amy and me, but I no longer have any feelings for you. In the past, if you even frowned, I would feel heartbroken for a long time. Now, even if I see you cry, I am indifferent. Before, when I came home and saw you and our son, my heart was filled with warmth, and there was so much to talk about. Now, when I come home, I feel like there's nothing to say. Can you understand this feeling? It's just that I don't love you anymore. I really don't love you anymore." After she finished listening to me, she stood there in a daze, and if it weren't for the tears streaming down her face, it seemed as if time had stopped. After a while, she slowly came to her senses and said, "Honey, I know I was wrong. Tomorrow is our son's birthday. Can you spend the day with us like before? After that, it'll set you free." Her request wasn't unreasonable, and thinking of our son, I nodded in agreement. The next morning, I arrived at the agreed hotel. Mary had booked the entire hotel, and she and her son had been waiting for me inside for a while. When her son saw me from a distance, he excitedly ran over. "Dad, I miss you so much. I haven't seen you in so many days." I lit the candles on top of a huge cake tower and walked over to Mary. The staff pushed it over, and I said, "Sweetheart, make a wish." I kissed my son and said, "I hope that my dad, mom, and I will always love each other and always live in it." Suddenly, a ringtone interrupted my son's wish. Mary glanced at her phone, her expression awkward, and hung up directly. Then, with a gentle smile, she said to her son, "Go on, make your wish, son. I hope that my dad and mom and I will always." The phone rang again, and Mary decisively hung up once more. At this point, no one spoke up to encourage my son to continue his wish, and the scene fell into an awkward silence. My son looked at me, then at Mary, his eyes darting around. Once again, the sound of a ringing phone broke the silence. I helplessly said to Mary, "Just answer it. Otherwise, it will keep ringing, and our son won't be able to make a wish." Only then did Mary pick up the call, but this time, the usually good-tempered her shouted into the phone, "Are you sick? Didn't I tell you today is my son's birthday, and our family is having a reunion? Why do you keep calling?" After a few words from the other end, Mary's expression turned very grim. She hung up the phone and, looking flustered, said to me, "Honey, Tom had an accident and is in the ICU. His mom called me, and I don't know what to do. He'll be back soon. Just wait for me." After saying that, she hurried to run outside. I grabbed her, not to stop her, but calmly said, "Mary, I just want to say one thing. Tom will be fine. Don't worry. Drive slowly on the way." Then I released my grip, Mary looked at me with a complicated expression for a moment, but still rushed out. At that moment, I was completely disheartened. I had said everything I could, yet she still chose to believe that something was wrong with Tom. Looking at my disappointed son, I knew his mother wouldn't be back for a while, and celebrating a birthday with just the two of us felt rather lonely. So, I called Amy and asked her to come over to celebrate with us. Before long, Amy arrived. After we finished the cake, she insisted on taking us out, saying it was too boring to stay in the hotel all day. We've already spent a whole day here. Wouldn't it be a waste? Before I could finish my sentence, she pulled me out. She first took us to Ocean Park. Then in the afternoon, we went to Happy Valley and the Science Museum. In the evening, we even went to see a children's theater. By the end of the day, my son's smile hadn't faded at all. Amy and my son had an especially great time. She did seem like she was just entertaining a child, but rather, she was having even more fun than he was. There were some activities where my son was too tired to continue, but she would pull him along as if they were two friends of the same age. In the evening, as I expected, Mary didn't come back. My son clung to Amy, not letting her leave, so I had to ask Amy to help put him to sleep. That night, I turned off the lights and spent the whole night alone in the living room, smoking and reminiscing about the moments between Mary and me from the time we met until now, filled with both happiness and bitterness. From the sweetness of our passionate love to the tender exchanges of our newlywed days, and now to the silence we share, everything has changed and can never go back. It was dawn, and I had completely let go. At noon, Mary called me, saying she was waiting for me at the Civil Affairs Bureau to handle the paperwork. I was somewhat surprised by her initiative to initiate the divorce. I asked Amy to watch our son at home and drove to the Civil Affairs Bureau myself. Sure enough, Mary was waiting at the entrance. When she saw me, she didn't wait for me to approach and walked straight into the Civil Affairs Bureau. I was filled with confusion. How could her attitude change so drastically in just one day? I followed her inside, and since there were few people, we quickly completed the divorce certificate. We both have our own companies, so there are no issues with property division. The only dispute is over the custody of our child, as we both want him. So, we went to a coffee shop to discuss the issue of the child's custody. George, please give me our son. You have to give me something to hold on to. You left me. I can't lose our son, too, Mary pleaded with desperation in her eyes. Absolutely not. The thought of my son calling Tom Dad makes me sick. If you don't agree, we'll go to court. I don't believe a person who abandons their son in a playground will be granted custody by the court, I said. Other matters could be negotiated, but when it comes to our son, I will not compromise. George, why do you think that after our divorce, I would marry Tom? Right now, I really just see him as an ordinary friend. I admit that before I confess to you, I spent a few days with him, but it was only a few days. You also know that our families have been close since childhood. When I was in school, I took special care of him because he was weak. Later, he confessed to me, and I foolishly agreed. But not long after, his family said they were going to immigrate to the United States, and we broke up. I was feeling really down at that time, and then I met you. I had a good impression of you, so I confessed to you. Later, you treated me so well that I fell completely in love with you, and there's no way I could be with Tom again. After listening to her story, I realized that yesterday, Tom and his mother had teamed up to deceive Mary into coming over. Nothing had actually happened. He simply knew we were getting a divorce and that we would be celebrating our son's birthday as a family yesterday. He wanted to ruin that birthday to prevent our divorce. So Tom and his mother harassed Mary for a whole day and night. Today, after Mary learned the truth, she had a huge argument with them. She also felt embarrassed to keep bothering me, so she took the initiative to ask for a divorce. In light of our many years of marriage, I agreed to her request and even left her the house we used to live in. She assured me that I could visit anytime. Visit our son anytime. She wouldn't marry Tom or let our son call him Dad. As for marrying someone else in the future, I had no right to interfere. I took a long vacation for myself and have always wanted to travel to France, but I've never had the time. Since I was young, I've heard that France is the capital of romance, and they say that even the most awkward person can learn to fall in love there. However, Recently, I saw a video done by a travel blogger called Cousin, who spoke of France as if it were worthless. I don't quite believe it. After all, hearing is one thing, but seeing is believing. As soon as I arrived in France, I was overwhelmed by the stench of feces everywhere, and when I got off the subway, the smell of urine hit me in the face. The area around the Eiffel Tower and the Champs-Élysées was also shabby, and after visiting, all I wanted to do was apologize to my cousin. I had wronged him. A few days after I arrived in France, I received a call from Amy. She said my dad was hospitalized again, and this time his condition was quite serious, urging me to come back quickly. I rushed home, and the hospital had already advised the family to give up treatment, saying the patient didn't have much time left and that they should try to fulfill his wishes. My dad's voice was very faint. I had to lean close to his mouth to hear him clearly. He struggled to speak for a long time, and my mom told us that my dad hoped to see me start a family so that he could rest easy. Marriage is not child's play. You can't just say you're getting married. My mom has always been so carefree, and she blurted out, "I think Amy is a great girl. We've watched her grow up since she was little. If her family hadn't gone abroad, they might already have kids of their own." As soon as my mom said that, I broke out in a cold sweat. Amy is still a girl who has never had a boyfriend. How could she possibly be interested in someone like me, who is divorced and has a child? And Amy was right there. How awkward could that be? I didn't even know how she would respond. Before I could say anything, Amy jumped in. "Annie, I'm willing. I just don't know what George thinks. As long as you agree, what opinion could he have as a second-time groom?" Mom said, shooting me a glare. This is really my mom. I hadn't said anything yet, and she was already complaining about me. I couldn't believe it when they actually started discussing the details of the wedding. I quickly interrupted them, using work as an excuse. If this continued, they would start booking hotels. I drove with Amy, and at first, the atmosphere was a bit awkward. Neither of us spoke. Thanks for helping me out in front of my parents. I was the first to break the silence. Actually, George, what I said just now was from the heart. I want to marry you. I came back this time for you, only to find out that you're already married. Amy, who had lived abroad for many years, was not at all shy. But I'm divorced and have a child. You really don't mind? What era are we in? You're still so feudal. I just want to ask you, do you like me? Amy stared at me with her beautiful big eyes. I do like you, but if you like me, that's enough. There's no but about it. How about we go check out a wedding planning company today? So we went to a very reputable wedding planning company. Although Amy had been abroad for a long time, she particularly loved traditional Chinese culture, so the wedding style was set to be traditional Chinese. I customized the most luxurious phoenix crown and bridal gown for her. This, aside from being expensive, had no other flaws. It was dignified, grand, and elegant. After looking at it for a long time, I couldn't help but exclaim, "The things from our ancestors are still the best." We spent a day determining the theme and style of the wedding, then booked a hotel, directly reserving the most luxurious one. Since my budget was sufficient, the hotel also gave us the most luxurious presidential suite, allowing us to stay there until the wedding was over. The presidential suite is very luxurious. I finished my shower first and lay on the bed, checking messages in the company group. At that moment, Amy also came out after a shower. She was already stunning, and now, with her hair wet, it was even harder to look away. I'm not someone with strong self-control, so I pulled her onto the bed. "George, don't rush. I haven't dried my hair yet. I like it when your hair is wet," I said, calling her by name. "Let me show you how to punish you." I pretended to be angry and gave her a light slap on the butt, and she stopped resisting. After a few rounds, I was exhausted and lay still on the bed. She was tidying up the things on the bed when the phone rang. I saw it was Mary calling. What did she want at this hour? I answered the call, and to my surprise, her voice was hoarse and laced with desire. There was a moment of silence on the other end. "George, what are you doing?" Perhaps she sensed something unusual in my voice. "If you have something to say, just say it. What I do has nothing to do with you." My good mood, just after a sweet time, was ruined by her, and I was quite unhappy. "Where are you now? Who are you with?" "At the hotel with my wife." "Are you satisfied now?" When Amy heard me say this, she pinched me on the waist. So quickly? Where did you get a wife? Is it that childhood friend of yours who just came back from abroad? With how open and chaotic it is over there, you dare to want someone like her. You call me late at night just to say this? Isn't Tom also back from abroad? Aren't you two in a muddled situation as well? Well, what do you really want, George? I was actually going to give you a chance. It seems you're really sick. After saying that, I hung up and turned to Amy. Same, baby, I'm ready again. The next day, we continued to refine the details of the wedding, sent out the invitations, and the wedding was set for 5 days later, which was a good day. At noon, Mary called me and asked me to come over, saying she had something to discuss with me. After all, she is the mother of... I want to clarify some things. I greeted Amy and then went over to Mary. When I saw Mary again, she looked very unwell, exhausted, and haggard. Upon seeing me, her first words were, "Tom is dead." I remained calm and asked, "When did this happen?" "It was just last night. When I called you, it turned out that during this time, Tom had been calling Mary repeatedly, but she no longer believed him until yesterday. Tom had come to the rooftop with a cane and sent Mary a video. Even when he leaned out, Mary refused to meet him. Tom, who had not fully recovered, slipped and fell from the 28th floor, dying instantly. When I saw him die, I surprisingly didn't feel heartbroken. Instead, I felt that the barrier between us was gone, and he could come back to me. So, I called you right away, but I didn't expect that at this point. Mary was in tears. I held her in my arms and comforted her. Although we are no longer husband and wife, you will always be the mother of my child. Whatever happens, I want to ignore it. Let's look forward. After an afternoon of my persuasion, Mary finally came to terms with it. When you get married, we'll give you a big gift on the day of my wedding with Amy. The ceremony was particularly grand, with all the prominent local figures in attendance. When Amy appeared in her custom-made phoenix crown and bridal gown worth millions, everyone in the audience was stunned. I walked over, took her hand, and together we accepted the congratulations from our friends and family below. The wedding went very smoothly. Mary herself did not attend the wedding, but the grand gift she sent did arrive, and it was indeed substantial. 50% of her company's shares. She handed over a portion of the company to me and used her own funds to build an orphanage. Later, she invested most of the company's dividends in charitable causes, which was the area she truly loved. She has always had a heart for helping the weak, and giving me the company shares was also to prevent herself from impulsively donating all the money as a way to leave some assets for her son. In fact, she need not worry. I would never neglect my son. Later, Amy also gave me 2 children, but in my heart, they're all the same. Because Mary is too busy, my son spends most of his time living with me. Amy treats him like her own. After dinner, watching the nanny, cleaning up the dishes, Amy and my eldest son are entertaining the 2 little ones, and the whole family is harmonious and happy. I can't help but sigh. This is happiness, isn't it? Just as I was feeling sentimental, Mary called me, sharing her recent happenings and reminding me to take care of my health and not to overwork myself. I expressed some concern for her as well, and after chatting for a while, we hung up. After all, we lived together for several years, and she's the mother of my child. Although we're no longer together, I still hope she has a good life and that everything goes smoothly for her.